Now at 5, downtown Pittsburgh is getting painted red ahead of Pitt State's first football game. We're live in the heart of the festivities. Plus, how students in Miami are handling state changes to test scoring, and
former President Donald Trump is facing backlash from some conservative groups following comments he made about abortion. I'm Natalie Brandt with what voters are saying.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Tanya Bach on the road in downtown Pittsburgh for the Paint the Town Red block party. Now, despite the weather, there's a lot of fun going on tonight. And for this evening, Gus the Gorilla will be here. He'll be participating in a fun run with kids. And not only are we celebrating Little Balkans Days with live music and vendors throughout the weekend, but we're also kicking off the PSU football season. Tomorrow night, the number 6 Gorillas take on the number 3 team in the nation, Ferris State. Tonight's pep rally starts at 6 p.m. and we'll be here live. There's also a meet and greet with the PSU football and cross-country teams. Paint the Town Red actually kicked off earlier this week as businesses started decorating their storefronts. The Kansas Teachers Credit Union took one of the top prizes in Division 2. This year's theme, City of Champions. Congrats also go out to the winners in Division 1, the City of Pittsburgh, Division 3, A&R Rentals, and the community favorite, CHC SEK. Well, meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney is now joining us with a first look at weather.
Yes, I'm out here too, and we do have some rain showers in the forecast later on tonight, holding off for a couple of hours. We don't have a severe risk. We're just outside. The main threat for those storms are going to be just east of us, though we are still going to get some rain showers. So far along I-44 and south of I-44 is where we've seen some more development, although going to see those storms continue to shift north for the next couple of hours and into the early overnight hours, clearing out, but we do have more rain chances in the forecast. Along with all this rain, we've also seen a drop in temperatures yesterday, upper 90s, dropping down to upper 80s today, so about 10-degree drop. Now, those storms will continue for the next several hours, though clearing out for the overnight hours, just to give us a little bit of break before the more rain comes in as we move into tomorrow, but I'll have more details coming up.
All right, I hope it holds out for us.
Yeah, me too.
That's for sure. All right, thanks, Lindsay. Well, a greenhouse farmer in Neosho, Missouri says the hot temperatures this season forced him to spend extra funds on crops as well as work extra jobs just to stay on top of things. An alchemist in Joplin says small businesses often struggle with resources when natural ones are not available.
How difficult it is for farmers because of lack of rain, things being in the sun too long, so they need shade outs, they need grants, they need things like that to continue their business.
Harris says providing things like a water system and shed will help protect your vegetation from the heat. Oklahoma schools are working to deal with a recent change in state test scoring. This comes after the Oklahoma Department of Education changed its scoring method but did not announce the change. Some Oklahoma schools saw an increase in students' test scores, but the scores were misleading. Miami schools say they don't know the exact reason for the new scoring methods.
I don't know all the reasoning. We really weren't communicated that the cut scores were going to be lowered, and so that's kind of why everyone's in limbo, awaiting an answer.
Miami schools look at students' OPI scores to gauge performance rather than their proficiency score, which offers a more accurate indicator of growth. Through using this method, they noticed their school has about a 10-point increase in scores compared to last year. With only 67 days until the election, the presidential nominees are honing their messages, both sides hoping to gain support among women on some of the country's hot button issues. Natalie Brand is in Washington with the details.
Former President Donald Trump is in western Pennsylvania working to boost his base in the battleground state. Part of his mission is to shore up support from women on issues including IVF and abortion. He's also facing backlash from some conservative groups about his comments Thursday suggesting Florida's 6-week abortion ban is too restrictive.
They attack him that he did away with abortion. No, he did not do away with abortion. He sent it back to the states where it should be.
Friday evening, Trump speaks to the conservative group Moms for Liberty, where parental rights are a top concern.
The fact that parents have the fundamental right for complete upbringing of their children, and that big tech, big government overreach is trying to take that away from parents every day.
Vice President Kamala Harris is looking to lock in her sizable lead among female voters. And next week, her campaign launches a reproductive freedom bus tour, making more than 50 stops till Election Day. In her first major interview as a presidential candidate, Harris was asked about some of her policy shifts, including on fracking.
No, and I made that clear on the debate stage in 2020, that I would not ban fracking. As vice president, I did not ban fracking. As president, I will not ban fracking.
Harris campaigns in Pittsburgh on Labor Day with President Biden, where energy issues are top of mind. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
With just over 2 months until Election Day, both campaigns have shown signs of inching toward middle ground, hoping to pick up voters along the way. Well, still ahead, we'll speak with Pitt State's new Vice President of Academic Affairs about today's event and Pitt State's mission to connect with the community. Welcome back. We are live in downtown Pittsburgh for the Paint the Town Red block party, and joining me now is PSU's new Provost Vice President, Susan Bond. Thank you so much. And first I want to say welcome to the Pittsburgh community. I understand you've only been here a couple of months.
Yes, and it has been the warmest welcome anybody could expect. It's been so amazing to join this community. I tell everybody I meet and talk to, it doesn't feel like I'm from someplace else. I feel like I'm home.
Well, we want to welcome you home and hope that you keep this as your home for a long time. Okay, so I'm sure in the last couple of months you've noticed that there's a lot of community support for the university. Tell me a little bit about what you've seen.
Well, I kind of joke with my family. I haven't entered a single business that doesn't fully on board support PSU. In terms of the gorillas that are all across the country, feels like the gorilla statutes that are everywhere you turn and look. The alumni, so my banker, the people in the donut shop, I laugh that I can't walk into any place without meeting an alumni who is so eager and delighted to tell their story of the impacts that Pitt State has had on their economic success and their jobs and their future and their past, and it's just a wonderful story.
Talk to me a little bit about, I know the university employs around 1,000 people, but it's also a huge benefactor to the workforce of the community as well. How important is that?
That is very important. The talent and the skills that our students earn while they're at Pitt State, they then take with them into the community. And so we feel that we are such a strong economic driver for the success of Pitt State, and we're delighted. We think it's an honor and a privilege to be serving in that role because we feel the support that Pitt State and that love that they give right back to us. And so we're eager to see our students enter the community and spread their knowledge and their support for what's trying to go for an economic, real benefits for the area.
Well, we're almost out of time, Susan, but real quickly, what are some of the highlights of the community that you've seen so far? Maybe a favorite spot?
Oh, wow. I feel guilty to say this, but I love my bank. My bank is filled with Pitt State alumni, and they just run and support me. So Commerce Bank, and then I also love the Gorilla Country. That small store, they come and they help when I wanted to make sure that I was geared up with all my supporting gear for Pitt State, and my family, of course, who also wanted to be all in. We kind of approach this as a really important part of our lives because we know it's a valuable contribution to the region and to the community, and we're just all in.
All right, well, thank you so much. It was wonderful meeting you, and I hope you enjoy your time here in Pittsburgh. All right, we will be right back with more Paint the Town Red.
Hey, it's meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney. I'm out here downtown Pittsburgh for Paint the Town Red Day. We do have some storms in the forecast, so we are going to see a couple of isolated storms popping up in the next couple of hours. So far, they've held off along I-44 and south, but they're starting to move in. You can kind of see a few popping up just south of Pittsburgh in Columbus, though right now we're looking all right. We're going to keep an eye on that over the next couple of hours. You can see it drops off once we get around 9 to 11 p.m., but then those rain chances starting to kick back up as we move into the morning hours. So overnight looking all right. The rest of the evening, storms start to dissipate after around 7, 8 p.m. Temperatures drop down to lower 70s, upper 60s for our overnight lows. So we're cooling off quite a bit like we've seen the last couple of nights. Temperatures are in the upper 70s, low 80s for the overnight lows, but we're definitely cooling down about 10 degrees. So we're going to take a look at the future track. Around, let's see, a couple more storms popping up near Pittsburgh in the next hour or so. Mostly going to clear out by about 9, 10 p.m. Then we're seeing a couple of isolated showers still sticking around for the overnight hours, but we clear out until the morning hours. So we're going to see a couple of storms as we move into the morning hour just along I-44 and south. A couple of isolated storms, not looking at a severe threat, but you can see not going to be widespread at all as we move through Saturday. Now, it is Labor Day weekend, so I know everyone's hoping for a clear weekend. After about 8 p.m. on Saturday, clouds start to clear out. Temperatures drop down to the mid-60s. And then Sunday is looking really great. We don't see any rain chances. And we also have clear skies, temperatures in the mid to upper 80s. And that continues through Labor Day as well. So as we get into the weekend, we see a couple of chances where isolated spots may see up to an inch of rain. But most of us only getting about a tenth to a quarter of rain. Not a ton of rainfall, very isolated, but as you can see, most of the Labor Day weekend's looking pretty good. So temperatures on Saturday, mid-80s, Sunday, upper 80s, so we're warming up just a little bit. Dodging storms on Saturday, though, mostly, like I said, isolated and south of I-44, hotter on Sunday, and a very nice Labor Day. Looking forward to Labor Day weekend. We move into the second half of the week. Temperatures, as you can see, remain in the mid to lower 80s. So we're starting to see these September temperatures. I'm hoping they stick around. We've got temperatures of overnight lows in the mid 60s, dropping down to the low 60s by next weekend. And the highs only getting as high as mid to upper 80s for the entire weekend. So I'm really definitely looking forward to that.
I know. I'm ready for this cool down.
You have. I've already, and I know it's a little controversial, I have already decorated my house for fall.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing
Okay,
wrong
good.
with that. All right, thanks, Lindsay.
Yep.
Well, topping today's Health Watch, endometriosis is a painful condition that affects 1 in 10 women. Experts say it can take years to get diagnosed because so little is known about the condition. Danya Bacchus tells us
You feel that?
about new research that could lead to a
You don't see it?
non-invasive way to confirm.
Just wait.
For years, Anna Delegati has been coping with symptoms so debilitating, getting through her day as a gym teacher can be challenging.
Heavy bleeding, really extreme pain, cramping, almost feels like a stabbing.
After years of being dismissed, Anna learned endometriosis runs in her family. She decided to have laparoscopic surgery, the only way to diagnose the condition currently.
Also mentally, it takes such a toll where before the diagnosis, you don't know what's wrong with you and you don't have people listening to you, so you think that you're being overdramatic.
She's among more than 3,000 women enrolled in a clinical trial at the Feinstein Institutes for Medical Research. The goal, to develop a non-invasive way to diagnose the condition.
There are tissues that reflect the lining of the uterus, which we have found to be different in patients who are unaffected with endometriosis versus patients with endometriosis. And we can collect menstrual blood samples from patients who are symptomatic and look for those differences.
Dr. Christine Metz is leading the research she hopes will lead to a new FDA-approved method, much less invasive than surgery to diagnose the condition.
Currently, patients wait 7 to 10 years to be diagnosed, and we're hoping that we could get this finalized and ready for the population within the next few years.
Even after surgery, which can also treat the condition, Anna still struggles with bleeding and pain.
I never want anyone to go through what I went through, so if I could be even the smallest part in changing that, that's the most amazing feeling ever.
She hopes taking part in the research helps more women. Danya Bacchus, CBS News.
Researchers hope the study will also lead to the development of new treatments for endometriosis. Well, a new study shows women who use hormone therapy during menopause are biologically younger than those who do not. Researchers studied more than 100,000 women in the UK and found hormone therapy slowed their biological age, which is a measure of how quickly your cells and tissue are aging. It might also help explain previous findings between hormone therapy and lower mortality risk. Experts say the benefits of hormone therapy were even greater for women of lower socioeconomic status. Well, coming up, a look at how topping today's Consumer Watch, the Labor Day weekend could see a record number of people on the move. Lower airfares and fuel costs are inspiring more Americans to take a trip. Roxana Sabiri has more.
Millions are planning to squeeze out the last bits of summer by taking to the skies.
I was surprised when I showed up here at the terminal and there's so many people in line of security.
The TSA, which has had a record summer, expects the trend to continue. The agency is preparing to screen around 2.86 million people today alone. Airlines also expect to fly a record number of passengers. For United, that's 3% more than last year. For American, nearly 14%.
How crowded was your plane?
It was packed.
Yeah.
John and Adriana Ziza flew from Chicago to Newark Thursday. They're celebrating their 10th anniversary by attending the U.S. Open in New York.
And this is our first chance to come back. We've got 3 kids at home, and my parents are staying there, thankfully taking care of them so we can have our first break in like 7 years.
AAA says Seattle is the top domestic destination this holiday, driven in part by sold-out Alaskan cruises departing from there. But for those flying into and out of Seattle-Tacoma Airport, travel could be tricky.
Here on the international side is where we're seeing the biggest impact right now.
Airport authorities say some international carriers and smaller airlines are manually checking in passengers, while employees are handwriting gate information, nearly a week after a suspected cyber attack disrupted computer systems, though security checkpoints are operating normally.
There's nothing they could do about it, nothing I could do about it, so I hold no grudges.
The top 3 busiest U.S. airports over Labor Day weekend will be Atlanta, Chicago O'Hare, and Dallas-Fort Worth. Roxana Saberi, CBS News, Newark, New Jersey.
Well, the Federal Reserve's preferred inflation gauge did better than expected last month. Data from the Commerce Department shows inflation held at 2.5% in July. That's just shy of the Fed's target 2%. Personal consumption expenditures price index also shows consumer spending is holding steady. Spending increased 0.5% for July. The latest data comes just weeks before the Fed is expected to start cutting interest rates. As you can see, the sprinkles are starting to fall on us a little bit here out at Paint the Town Red, but we're having fun. And we'll have the final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, the sticker shock some Americans might get when shopping for their Labor Day barbecues. And then on KOAM News at 6, we speak with our former sports director and current Pitt State Associate Athletic Director, Jacob Leonard, about the Gorillas' new special uniforms. Plus, we'll have more on a statewide change to student test scoring in Oklahoma. And it's time for some Friday night high school football in Missouri and Oklahoma. We're going to break down the biggest matchups. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. And like I mentioned earlier, we're starting to get a few sprinkles out here.
Very light sprinkles, very light. And I don't have my laptop in front of me, but I can give you a little bit of a weather wrap. So we definitely have those showers continuing for the next couple hours, clearing out for the overnight hours, but we are going to see some more chances of rain in the morning, but temperatures cool down pretty drastically for the next couple of days. A little warmer on Sunday, 89. Monday, Labor Day, 85. So it's a fantastic Labor Day. And then for the rest of the week, mostly cooler temperatures in the mid-80s and a couple more rain chances.
Okay. Well, as you can see, these sprinkles
very light
are
sprinkles.
Definitely not enough to ruin the party out here. The pep rally is scheduled to start at 6 o'clock, and that's what we're expecting to. There's going to be a lot of fun, so make sure you come out and enjoy the fun in downtown Pittsburgh. And thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next, and of course, we'll be right back here live at KOAM News at 6, and we'll see you then. Have a great evening and an even better weekend.